This is Experience Imagination, a themed entertainment podcast by FALCON'S creative group.
Story connects people to the experience.
Every aspect of creativity is brought together.
We wanted to do something different and fresh.
There are so many different disciplines that are involved in this industry.
Nothing will get you further than your passion.
This entire process is just making us better designers.
We're really pushing the envelope.
Welcome back to Experience Imagination. I'm your host, Audrey DeLong. As someone who enjoys traveling and experiencing sights, attractions, and cultures with my own eyes and ears, I know a little planning and guidance goes a long way. And that's also true for journeys to theme parks. You want to know which rides are truly must-dos, or how long that wait time might be, where you can satisfy your hunger, and where to buy exclusive items, or maybe just dry clothing after you get caught in the wrong seat on that trip down the rapids. And you all know what I mean. You've been there. I know you have. On the other side of this coin are owners and operators who want to give the public authentic information about their special places without breaking the bank to pay for traditional advertising. And also, they just want to keep up with the times, which is to tap into the power of social media and influencer marketing. So on today's show, I'm going to talk to two theme park content creators who are intimately familiar with all of these concepts. Cole Brown from Park Pros and Ryan Williams from Parkineer will give us an inside look at how they cover the theme park industry and what they do to help promote parks and new attractions. I do want to point out that the sound quality from this conversation with Cole and Ryan is different than what you've come to expect from Experience Imagination. I swear we didn't record this inside of a tunnel, although it kind of sounds like we did. And that's because we had to use the audio from a backup device after a critical failure of our main recording system. The actual conversation is stellar, though, and highly engaging. And, we thought about redoing it, but the conversation was just too good to try to replicate. We hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the podcast, Cole and Ryan.
Very excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So I want to start nice and easy, like that kind of slow climb up the roller coaster, that hill. But, maybe that climb isn't easy for some people. Get the sweaty palms and everything. But so here's how I want to start. Let's start with Ryan. Mm-hmm. Just tell us what Parkineer does.
So I'm a theme park content creator, and what that means is I travel around the world to theme parks, attractions, hotels, and I tell their stories, or my stories to them. But sometimes the traveling to these places is a story in itself. And so I visited over, 60 theme parks, multiple countries for Parkineer. And I just love telling the latest stories of the latest coasters, theme parks, attractions, hotels out there. I run Facebook groups for most US-based theme parks, weekly newsletter that's one of the largest in the world with 16,000 people that follow it for theme parks. YouTube, TikTok account, you name it, I have it.
Nice. All right, Cole, what do you do with Park Pros?
Yeah, Park Pros is theme park attractions, guidance, content, reviews a little bit. Basically the same thing Ryan said. I travel around the world. I go to parks. I am a roller coaster aficionado. Mm-hmm. But I try to take that knowledge and that love for theme parks and roller coasters and kind of translate it into something that, everyone can appreciate and take a liking to. And that's really kind of what Park Pros has become over the past couple of years is just taking the love for theme parks and roller coasters and expanding that to the masses.
So there's probably a lot of people out there wondering, do you two know each other? Is this kind of a small community of people that do this?
Yeah, Cole and I, we've hung out, and we first met at IAPA, I think, 2 years ago. And since then, we've exchanged phone numbers, we hang out, we share secrets about filming content and just other things like that. Yeah.
It's not a very big community of creators. There's maybe like a dozen of us, and a lot of us communicate and, share strategies. And, if he's doing a video, if his is doing well, I'll reach out and say, that was a really good video, or vice versa. And yeah, especially in the short form world, it's a little kind of more of an intimate community rather than maybe less so YouTube or other media. So
true. Yeah. Well, let's talk about how you visit these parks, because I'm guessing it's under controlled circumstances sometimes, or all the time, meaning you're invited, or there's some kind of mutual understanding basically between you and the park owner or operator of what you're going to provide after the visit. So tell us how that works, Ryan.
So usually when I visit theme parks, attractions, or hotels, I try and work with the park operator or hotel operator to get special permissions from them that other guests usually do not have, and that enables me to tell a better story. So the primary thing for this is being able to film on rides. A lot of parks simply do not allow it for safety reasons, but that's the number one thing I need to tell a good story. And I usually have a secure GoPro chest mount. I work with the park beforehand, before the park opens. I usually inspect it, make sure it's okay. And then that allows me to tell the best story possible. And a lot of the times I'm invited out to parks. They could either provide me with free tickets to the event, hotel or lodging or airfare, sometimes payment, depending on what the agreement is at the time. If they're flying me out there, I don't have to worry about necessarily the cost of it myself because they've taken care of that. My focus is on helping them tell a good story.
Yeah, it would get expensive, I guess, if you had to pay your own way.
Yes, and no, believe me, it does.
All right, Cole, tell us how it works with you.
The most common kind of routine that I go through when I'm going through a park is just kind of reaching out by email and letting them know. Unlike Ryan, I don't do a lot of like on-ride filming typically.
Okay.
A lot of my content style is more audible storytelling after the fact. So I'll film everything, and then from there, I'll pretty much just enjoy my day. And then in post-production, when I have all my clips, I'll kind of, tell the story of the day to my audience and basically just a recap of, the things that went well, the things that went bad at the park, what rides I enjoyed, doing all that in post-production. So for me, really, I'll just let a park know I'm coming. And especially now, parks are kind of warming up to the idea of hosting content creators because they're starting to see the value of that media. It's very valuable to kind of have that third party voice out there promoting the park in a different way, which I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit later as well.
I definitely agree with Cole. I'm a theme park fan and roller coaster fan first, so I will visit all these parks. They don't have to necessarily provide me with anything. I visit some very remote parks that don't have any budget whatsoever, and I just have shared their story, and it's done well. Like Lost Island, I'm wearing their shirt right now. They don't have really a strong marketing budget right now, but I visited their park, loved it, and just shared their story because I love theme parks first and foremost.
Yeah, we're going to break down influencer marketing because you're both involved in that. So what is it, first of all, for our listeners that don't really know? And then I'd like to know how you work within that structure to bring content to theme park enthusiasts. And we'll start with Cole.
Yeah, so I think influencer marketing is basically utilizing an influencer's platform to expand your own brand. So in the context of parks and attractions, like we said, hosting influencers is a great way to have that third party voice, whether negative or positive. If you host an influencer, that could be a very powerful expansion of your audience. It's becoming a very powerful tool for parks and attractions to reach new audiences and market in completely new ways.
These brands, theme parks, attractions, hotels, they're finding that their traditional media advertisements are not working as well. And so they're able to see that theme park influencers like Cole and myself, our content is authentic, like Cole was saying, it's real. People are liking that more and more, especially with short form content becoming more and more a thing like TikTok, Instagram. People expect to see more of a real face versus like a red 10K camera experience.
Right.
And showcase like, hey, here's my experience. I had a great time. This is why you will also have a great time.
Yeah, for sure.
And to add to that, I think the production quality, like you talked about, especially in the rise of TikTok, where 99.9% of videos that you see on your feed that go viral are filmed on an iPhone or an Android.
Yeah.
And so when you have these 4K, like massive production crews, it's not as authentic as Ryan and I going with our phones and, filming the ride. Cameras on phones are fantastic now, but it just comes off in a more authentic and platform native way.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, well, both of you have hundreds of thousands of followers across your social media platforms. I'm kind of curious how long it took to build that base, and why do you think your content resonates with so many people?
Great question. I'm at about 630,000 across all my followers, all my platforms. I built it over the last 5 years, so it has taken me some time. I know Cole's he's gotten his followers a lot quicker. His stuff is going viral like crazy, which is helping him. I started off with Facebook groups. So I created a Facebook group for every single theme park in the US, basically. And those have organically grown over time. Some of these are the largest Facebook groups for the theme parks that they're about. So the Carowinds theme park, I run a group for them. That is actually the theme park group in which the crack about Fury started. Somebody in the group posted like, hey, has anyone seen this crack? And then it grew like wildfire. We had reporters begging to join that group, asking for the story. You name a theme park in the US, I have a group for it. I have a newsletter that I've grown over the past 2 years for theme park fans. It's at 16,000 people that follow it just for the latest theme park news. And then my TikTok account is at 280,000 followers.
So it's grassroots, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it started with Facebook.
It started with Facebook groups, and then I was able to expand from there. And then I think just being early on all the platforms kind of helped me.
Mm-hmm.
I started early on TikTok just after it changed from Musical.ly to TikTok. And that really helped me grow a following there. So I think more parks should try and be on these early social media platforms before they go viral.
All right, cool.
I started posting on YouTube about 4 years ago. It was, right after I had graduated college and had some adult money. I started getting back into the parks.
Adult money, huh?
Yeah. I was able to.
It's different than children money.
Yeah, I was able to
Teenager
travel
money.
a little bit more and afford these, trips. And I usually spend my free time, just bouncing from park to park across the country. And so I figured, okay, I might as well start posting my opinions on this. I posted on YouTube for a couple years, had a little bit of success here and there. But then once TikTok really kind of took off, from the first TikTok I posted, it kind of just took off like wildfire. I have over 400,000 followers on TikTok. I just hit 100,000 on YouTube, and I'm at 150,000 on Instagram. So the short form content kind of continues to dominate the landscape and evolve in its own kind of art form.
And one of the most interesting things is you don't have to have a large attraction or theme park necessarily to go viral. It doesn't have to be have all the bells and whistles. Cole was recently at Brava, a very small roller coaster in Mass Mocha, and he did 3 videos there. It got 15 million views on TikTok.
Yeah, it did like 30 million views
30
across
million?
across platforms. Yeah, just 2 videos did. So, and this is like a little tiny roller coaster in an art museum, right? If you're able to put a really compelling story behind that, people are going to find it interesting.
That's a lot, though. No matter how you slice it, that is a lot of eyeballs on that one piece of content. So, can you explain why so many people are drawn to it?
I think this roller coaster that we're talking about in particular is just very unique because it is in an art museum. It's in a unique setting. A lot of my content over the past year has been seeking out roller coasters in kind of unique settings. Another one that did really well is this guy in Tucson built a roller coaster in his backyard for his grandkids. And it is like the roughest, craziest ride ever. But that also went viral because it's so unique. It's like this guy has a ranch in the desert in Arizona, in the middle of nowhere. And there's just like this crazy roller coaster that he built just for fun, right? And so I think people are really kind of drawn to that, like the uniqueness of it. Mm-hmm. And people are willing to invest, 30, 60 seconds of their day into watching this interesting little, almost like masterpiece you're putting together.
Yeah, let's talk about short form a little bit more. Is there a formula to create engaging short form content? We talked a little bit about it, but specifically for social media, or does everyone use their own playbook?
There's absolutely a formula. The first 3 to 5 seconds are probably the most crucial. If you can't capture someone's attention in that time frame, the rest of the video honestly doesn't matter, in my opinion, because people are just swiping so fast. The video also has to be shareable, potentially, for it to go viral. Nobody knows what these algorithms on these social media platforms really want, but I believe if they see people sharing the video a lot more, they'll boost it out to a lot more followers. So it being a shareable piece of content and the first 3 to 5 seconds is probably one of the most important. Also, captions through the video, because a lot of people view these videos while they're in a bus or something where they don't have headphones.
True.
And they like seeing captions on a video. So that's one thing that Cole does excellent. He has captions on almost every single one of his videos. He tells his story, and people are able to listen to it without audio.
Yeah.
I think kind of the basic structure of a short form viral video is obviously, like Ryan said, the hook. The first 3 to 5 seconds, you use your best shots. The viewer is trying to commit to this bit to a longer kind of segment of time, right? And they're going to decide within the first, I would say even like half a second a lot of the times, whether the video is going to interest them or not, right? Something you can kind of bake into the hook is almost like a question, or you kind of have to leave the video in limbo a little bit. So the middle is where the storytelling takes place, whether it's visually through like a POV or something. And then the end is the payoff where you answer that first question in limbo, either within the hook or shortly after. So the end of the video is what you want people to stay for, obviously, right? Because video is going to do better if the algorithm is seeing that people are staying longer.
I found that one of my best trips I've ever had was to the Middle East, to the United Arab Emirates. And I basically did what Cole just said, But then at the end of the video, I also left them wanting more. I introduced, hey, does anybody want a POV of this ride? Do you want me to show you part 2? And that wanted people to see the next video. So they would follow me, and then they'd be, invested in this series. And that trip did bonkers amount of views. I think we got like 30 million views or more for my whole trip. And the United Arab Emirates really has some amazing theme parks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they go all out.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of us can't travel outside the U.S. I mean, at least not on a regular basis. So it's like, what is Europe doing? What is the Middle East doing? What is Asia doing?
True. Cole just got back from Europe, and he had some the one theme park with the dog fart coaster, was it?
There's this wacky park in Denmark called Bon Bon Land where pretty much all the rides and things are themed to like toilet humor. And so there is a roller coaster called the dog fart roller coaster there, and yeah, people were loving that on TikTok.
Well, I want to ask you, Cole, on your website, parkpros.com, you offer a strategic theme park guide called Become a Park Pro.
Yep.
Is that right? So when someone downloads that, what kind of information will they get access to?
Yeah, so Become a Park Pro is something that it's basically, I've been going to theme parks for 15 years. And when you do this so often, I went to 50 theme parks last year. There's certain tips and tricks that kind of become universal to all the different parks you go to that are helpful in, just having a good day and avoiding the crowds. And I took all my kind of collective knowledge of information of 15 years of going to parks and just threw it into, it's about like a 40-page guide. It's a PDF you can download on my website. And it's just little things that you can implement into your theme park day to, be successful.
You talked about getting paid as this is the way that you make a living.
Yes.
How do you get paid?
There's a number of things. So the main one is ad revenue from these platforms. So TikTok has a really nice program called the Creativity Program where they have a really nice, it's called RPM, which stands for rate per milli, basically what the platform will pay per 1,000 views. And basically what that is you're just getting a share of the ad revenue that the platform generates from, people scrolling, hitting an ad, and, what advertisers pay. You're the ones creating the content on the platform, so you get a nice little piece of that. That's how it works on both YouTube and TikTok. The other way is brand deals, working with brands or parks or things like that. And that's kind of more of usually a set rate for a campaign that will typically span between 30 or 60 days. And the rates on that differ based on whether it's living on our platform and it's a boosted advertising, if it's a dark ad where it's kind of in the background but showing up as an ad on people's feeds. There's a number of other ways creators can make money. I sell a digital product, the guide, which we talked about before, which is an additional source of revenue. You can do merchandise, you can do memberships, you can do Patreon for exclusive content.
Ryan, how about you?
I know for the first couple of years, I was definitely losing money going to all these parks, which I would do otherwise. I just wanted to post about it. And so it took me years to get to this position where it could be a full-time job. And that required a lot of sacrifice, staying up late, editing all these videos, even though they only got a few views at the time. And that slowly built up over time where I was building my brand and a lot of people could trust that brand. And one of the other things I've done as a source of revenue, there's this coaster company called Dynamic Attractions.
Yeah.
And they went out of business recently. They auctioned off their warehouse in British Columbia. I bought 4,000 pounds of roller coaster wheels and parts from that auction because I wanted to own a roller coaster wheel. I've always wanted to own a roller coaster wheel. And I knew other roller coaster enthusiasts would want to own a roller coaster wheel. So I saw these roller coaster wheels are going for dirt cheap. I bought, I think, 90 of them for just a couple $100.
Wow.
And they usually go for a couple $100 each. And so I bought these wheels to resell them. But boy, getting 4,000 pounds of stuff from British Columbia to Orlando,
right?
That was a whole thing. I had to learn about truck freight and everything. And it was a whole thing. So I make some money reselling some roller coaster wheels I bought from that auction.
Where are those wheels now?
They're in my garage. My wife is just like, can we please sell more of these wheels to free up the garage space? But if it was me, I would have bought more wheels because it's just such a good deal.
She was like, you did what now?
I definitely got permission from her before buying them. Like, hey, this is an investment.
Yeah.
It's going to take up a lot of our garage space. It's 4,000 pounds. Once the person offloads it from the truck, I won't be able to move it myself. So we're going to have to live with it in position here.
Oh, my God. So You've visited a lot of theme parks. I mean, obviously, we've covered this many times. Many amusement parks as well, regional parks, big parks, medium-sized parks. You've probably picked up on things that parks can do to improve the guest experience. Do you ever offer unsolicited advice to them, or is that an extra service you can actually be hired for?
So I do offer consulting to parks. I think Cole does as well. But my number one unsolicited piece of advice to all parks: get on social, get on TikTok, post daily, post consistently, and then also create a Facebook group for your park. Facebook groups, I think, are a very underutilized resource that parks aren't using. Dollywood recently created a Facebook group that they own and operate now. And Facebook groups offer you just another chance to reach potential customers. Also, Facebook groups, you can technically hear what complaints people are talking about and potentially get on them before more and more people have those same complaints. Every park should do Facebook groups, and if you're a theme park listening to this, I can help you create that Facebook group.
You can.
So I don't think there's anything necessarily that sticks out to me in terms of what parks are doing wrong, but I think a trend we're heading towards is really that family dynamic guest experience, making parks more accessible to families. And I think you see kind of the regional theme parks shifting towards this, especially in like the roller coaster landscape. We're not seeing that many large roller coasters over the past couple of years. And if they are large, they're really nice, well-themed, inclusive family coasters. And so I think that's kind of where the trend I see parks going towards, especially in the next decade, is themed family entertainment rather than, the days of Six Flags and Cedar Fair building these massive roller coasters that, have a lot of viral qualities, but aren't necessarily inclusive to the whole family or inclusive to making more money, basically.
Are you talking about just in the U.S.? Because I have seen some like in Europe and the Middle East that are kind of crazy.
This is becoming a trend across the entire industry that we're seeing. Is just these really, really expensive, nice family rides and attractions that are trying to attract more families to the parks as opposed to teenagers or adults. And I think it's a really smart idea because I love being able to chill out on a ride and enjoy the storytelling, the theming, rather than, going 150 miles an hour. And, sometimes it's a nice change of pace, right? And I think a lot of even adults like us and thrill seekers appreciate those kind of themed experiences and, taking a break from the big coasters once in a while. Yeah. And I think there's a big financial benefit to that as well, which is why you see those parks doing this.
For sure.
So like Holiday World has Good Gravy coming out, which is a very family themed orientated small coaster themed to all around Thanksgiving. The SeaWorld parks have been pumping out family coasters after family coasters recently. Icebreaker, kind of a family coaster. The new Penguin Trek, that's definitely a family coaster. Busch Gardens, Tampa, they're coming out with a new family coaster. So yeah, I definitely think Cole's on the right track here, that family orientated theme parks or new additions are a thing that's going to be trending.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's plug everything that you guys have going on. Ryan, we'll start with you.
If you want to follow me, I'm on TikTok. I have a weekly theme park newsletter. We actually have started, I really think it's the first theme park comic strip. We're at 52 comics we've posted, and we try and make funny jokes about, theme parks and, going to theme parks in general. So you can follow me on TikTok at Parkineer, website at Parkineer, where it gives you the sign up for the newsletter, or you can email me at ryan@parkineer.com if you want me to work with you to help grow your presence on social media.
Nice.
I am Park Pros on all platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can find all of my content. I post across all those platforms. If you're a brand or a park looking for a potential sponsorship, parkpros.com is where my portfolio, all my information is. But yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I don't really want to end this conversation, but at some point we do have to end it. All good things come to an end like rides. So I appreciate you being here in the studio with me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
That's going to do it for our Influencing the Theme Park Community episode. Thanks again to Cole Brown and Ryan Williams for taking the time to talk with us in person. And thanks to all of you for listening. If you have an interesting story about how you prepare for your own theme park adventures, or if influencer marketing has, influenced your decision about what to visit, send us an email. We might feature your story on a future episode. We'll see you next month. Thank you for listening to Experience Imagination, a Falcons Creative Group production. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. Be sure to check out falconscreativegroup.com and follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you have ideas for future episodes or just want to drop us a message, send an email to podcast@falconscreativegroup.com.